Do you know how strong zombies are outside the country? Just a casual strike. Just kill Lanchi on the spot. He then transformed into Ghost Rider enveloped in flames. Not long ago, Yellow-Hair Zombie did not hear the order to retreat. So he picked up a knife and charged towards the welcoming team alone. With a loud bang, everyone in the field was suddenly blown away. Lanchi and Zoe were both very confused at this moment. What is going on? Why would someone attack us? Just as they were pondering, a figure slowly emerged from the thick smoke. After getting a good look at the person's face, Lanchi was full of disbelief. And at this moment, two figures flew over from the building in the distance with a bang. Immediately after, there was a loud shout from Beauty Duet. "Zoe, Lanchi, run quickly! This guy is very dangerous!" As soon as their voices fell, the yellow-hair zombie landed gracefully. He then took out a knife and arrogantly shouted loudly, "Foreigners on the other side of the world, take a good look. This is the strength of our country B Zombie Legion." The sister who witnessed this scene whispered to herself, "Not good. This guy is the zombie boss under the girl boss." But she didn't have time to warn Lanchi before the yellow-hair zombie was already in his grasp, emitting a black substance. So this is the corpse oil that can only be produced by the zombie in its origin form. As the yellow-hair zombie took out a lighter, the next second, countless flames swept toward Lanchi and the others. In just a few moments, the surroundings had turned into a sea of fire. Sarah, who saw the scene, quickly shouted, "You guys, get out of the way! These flames won't extinguish." Upon hearing this, Zoe was suddenly shocked. She asked, "Sarah and Sienna, why are you both here?" However, Lanchi on the side did not believe it at all. She said, "Isn't it just a zombie? What's the big deal?" At the same time, on the other side, Girl Boss quickly ordered her subordinates to go and retrieve the yellow-hair zombie. Zombie with Mask said, "Girl Boss, you can rest assured. I will definitely bring the guy back to you." After saying that, he said to center-parted hair guy, "You don't need to support me anymore. I feel much better now." But just then, a car suddenly drove slowly past them. That's right. It was indeed the car that Zombie was escorting the country president in. Zombie with Mask seemed to have sensed something and immediately looked inside the car. I didn't expect to see Zombie sitting in the passenger seat just in time. And at the moment, they made eye contact. He, who had just recovered a moment ago, now began to tremble involuntarily once again. The scene shifts back to the yellow-hair zombie. Lanchi, holding a sword, charges toward him. But at this moment, the yellow-hair zombie suddenly threw a smoke bomb at her. With a loud bang, a large amount of white smoke immediately filled the surroundings. Before Lanchi could react, suddenly, a sword light slashed across her head. The onlookers were all in disbelief when they saw this scene. At this moment, Yellow-Hair Zombie punched Lanchi, sending him flying, and then said, "This foreigner's strength is too weak. Next one." Looking at Lanchi lying on the side, life and death unknown. At this moment, Zoe suddenly didn't know what to do. Fortunately, Beauty Duet arrived just in time at this moment. They took control of their weapons and stood in front of the yellow-hair zombie. Then she shouted loudly to Zoe behind her, "Hurry, take her for medical treatment. Maybe she can still survive." As for this yellow-hair zombie, it's not something you two can handle. She pulled out her long sword and made the yellow-hair zombie leave immediately. Otherwise, she wouldn't be polite to you. However, upon hearing this, the yellow-hair zombie angrily said that if it wasn't for the sake of the girl boss, he would have torn both of you apart long ago. "If you don't step aside now, I will teach both of you a lesson on behalf of the girl boss today." He said it, then he cut his wrist with a long knife. The next second, a large amount of corpse oil flowed out from his wrist. Then, amidst the shocked gazes of the crowd, a blazing fire ignited around himself with a swish. Not long after, his whole body was enveloped in flames. "I didn't expect this. This guy actually transformed into an invincible Ghost Rider. Bring your popcorn and beer. Lanchi unexpectedly also activated transformation. The yellow-haired zombie, who saw this scene, was stunned for a moment. How did she feel a sense of kinship from her body? However, before he could think further, Lanchi's foot had already kicked him in the face. Not long ago, Lanchi and Zoe encountered an ambush in Country B. And surprisingly, the one who ambushed them turned out to be a zombie. Lanchi was even struck by that zombie's attack. She lay on the ground seriously injured, her life hanging in the balance. Fortunately, at this moment, the special agent's beauty duet from Country B arrived in time. What they didn't expect was that the yellow-haired zombie could actually transform. Wrapped in flames, he actually transformed into a Ghost Rider. The beauty duet, who witnessed this scene, were shocked on the spot. This guy's strength is unexpectedly powerful. The yellow-haired zombie was yelling at this time, saying, "How about this? Haven't seen a transformation before. I used to give you some slack because of girl boss face. Do you really think you're that powerful?" Upon hearing this, Sarah hastily turned around and shouted loudly to Zoe, "This guy is no longer someone we can deal with. Why aren't you running away yet?" But the one who heard this, Zoe, was not scared at all. Instead, she reached out her hand and was ready to transform. However, just as she was about to go up and beat up Yellowhair, Lanchi's voice suddenly came from beside her. "Last time you already stole the spotlight. This time it should be my turn no matter what you say." As soon as the words fell, Lanchi, who was barely breathing, miraculously stood up again. The crowd watching this scene was suddenly shocked. It turns out that Lanchi has also activated a transformation. At this moment, the beauty duet is speechless on the spot. She thinks to herself, "What on earth is this unknown_4? At this moment, Lanchi is excited and says, "I've been holding back for so long. Finally, there's a chance to experience the genes of our chief president." But Zoe next to them impatiently says, "Let's finish this quickly. Don't waste time." Seeing the two of them acting like this, Beauty Duet couldn't help but say, "Are you still considered human beings right now?" The yellow-haired zombie behind him was taken aback. He thought, "What's going on? Why do I feel a sense of kinship with him?" However, before he could ponder further, Lanchi loudly exclaimed, "Weren't you arrogant just now? Why are you scared now?" Upon hearing this, the yellow-haired zombie could not bear it any longer. It immediately opened its arms in front of him with a swish. With a loud bang, a terrifying flame suddenly ignited in the field. Immediately, the flame rushed towards Lanchi at an extremely fast speed. Facing such a terrifying flame, Lanchi simply took a deep breath. The next second, those flames were all swallowed by Lanchi. Sarah, who witnessed this scene, was dumbfounded. She thought, "This is too exaggerated." However, Yellowhair Zombie was excited and loudly said, "Interesting." But he hadn't finished his sentence yet. At this moment, Lanchi's foot had already hit him in the face with a bang. The Yellowhair Zombie, that was knocked flying out, looked incredulous. He thought, "How is this possible? How did her speed suddenly become so fast? And the force is also so great." Just as he was preparing to counterattack again, he suddenly heard Girl Boss's roar in his earpiece. She said, "Yellowhair Zombie, can you hear me? Come back to me quickly." However, in his current state of anger, how could he possibly retreat? He immediately responded sternly and angrily, "I'm busy right now. No time." The girl injected herself with a dose of zombie blood. Unexpectedly, she instantly transformed into a Grim Reaper. Yellowhair Zombie, who saw this scene, were all stunned. It feels like there is a similar scent on the other party's body. However, before he could think further, Lanchi was already right in front of him in a flash. With a loud bang, the Yellowhair Zombie was kicked and sent flying out by her just like that. At the same time, inside a certain hotel, Zombie had just got out of the car when he received a call from the minister. The minister said there was a bit of trouble on Zoe's end. He needs you to go over and take a look. This statement caught Zombie off guard. So, do I no longer need to protect the country president now? The minister said it's safe as long as we're at the hotel. Now everyone there is our own people, he thought to himself. No choice. Since the minister has spoken, Zombie can only go to Zoe's place first. As for the safety on the country president's side, I think with Harry and Larry there shouldn't be any issues. The scene shifts back to Launchie's side. She is still somewhat unaccustomed to using Zombie's genes for the first time. Just a few days ago, Lily had just come out of the laboratory. Just saw Launchie holding Zombie's blood, about to inject it into herself. Just because Launchie thinks both are president, why should Zoe be stronger than her now? You should know that the two of them have always been fighting openly and secretly. But since Zoe got Zombie's genes, her strength has undergone a qualitative change. However, at this time, Lily warned that we haven't fully researched this thing yet. What should we do if there are any adverse effects after using it? But Launchie didn't listen to advice at all. In order to not be outdone by Zoe in strength, she injected Zombie's blood without hesitation. She feels particularly great after completing her transformation at this moment. However, Zoe on the side reminded her, saying, Launchie, don't get too excited. You must control your emotions. But before she could finish her words, the yellow-haired zombie across from her was full of excitement and exclaimed loudly, That kick just now was pretty good. Come on, come on. The Beauty Duet twins, who heard this, were both speechless. However, even more surprisingly, Launchie suddenly opened her mouth. The next second, countless flames spewed out from her mouth. This scene made everyone present show expressions of disbelief. Yellow-haired zombie was even crackling from the flames. Later, Launchie flew over to the top of his head in a flash. Immediately after, she kicked fiercely. With a bang, the yellow-haired zombie was smashed into the ground. After everything was done, Launchie couldn't help but burst into laughter looking up at the sky. She said, Ha ha ha! This feeling is just too great! On the other hand, yellow-haired zombie felt depressed. He thought to himself, What on earth is this guy? Why did he suddenly become so strong? But at that moment, Zoe suddenly shouted loudly to Launchie, Stop fighting! You will lose your mind if you continue like this. However, Launchie at this moment was not listening at all, because her mind was now full of thoughts on how to devour that yellow-haired zombie. Bring your popcorn and beer. Zombie finally made an entrance. With a loud explosion, he instantly smashed a huge pit into the street. Not long ago, Launchie secretly injected Zombie's blood. He unexpectedly also successfully mastered the ability to transform. But the result was that the fight with the yellow-haired zombie was too intense. She actually lost her mind and wanted to kill everyone present. The members of Beauty Duet, who saw this scene, were all stunned. Why did Launchie become like this? At this moment, Launchie suddenly drooled and said he wanted to eat the yellow-haired zombie. The yellow-haired zombie, upon hearing this, was stunned. What? How does she look more like a zombie? He immediately began to complain loudly. I say, who are you anyway? How come you have the aura of our zombies on you? However, before he could finish speaking, the loud voice of Girl Boss came through his earpiece again. She said, Yellow-haired zombie, you fool, come back to me right away. Something terrifying is flying towards you. As soon as her words fell, a figure suddenly appeared in the air. That's right. The newcomer was none other than Zombie, who had been daydreaming for several days. Just then, with a bang, an explosion erupted. In an instant, Zombie smashed a huge pit in the middle of the scene. However, at this moment, the yellow-haired zombie still stubbornly said, I'm not leaving. We haven't determined the winner between us yet. But at this moment, a female zombie suddenly appeared right behind him with a swish. And then, regardless of whether he was willing or not, she swooshed away with him to escape from here. Launchie, who saw this scene, immediately got extremely angry and said, "None of you will leave here alive today." The yellow-haired zombie in the air also said in frustration, "I haven't had enough fun, Gia." However, Gia replied, "If we continue playing, you will have to die here." Just as they were talking, at that moment, Launchy below suddenly opened his mouth and spit out a beam of green energy cannon. In less than 2.5 seconds, that green beam of light covered the entire sky. However, Gia calmly raised her hand and gestured. The next second, those energy columns were all transferred by her to the nearby building. At this moment, the beauty duet watching the show in the audience area is completely very confused. She wonders if this unknown _4 is still a human battle. Just when they were in doubt. At this moment, the aftershocks of the battle suddenly overturned the two of them on the ground. Even worse, the building shattered by the energy beam unexpectedly collapsed towards their direction. Just as it seemed the two girls were about to perish. Suddenly, a loud bang rang out. The building was instantly punctured by a huge hole. The sister who reacted quickly hurriedly looked ahead, only to see a figure suddenly appeared in front of them. And he also punched the building to pieces. Beauty Duet, who witnessed the scene, was in disbelief. The strength of this person in front of them is just too powerful. But when Zombie slowly turned his head, what was revealed was a handsome and attractive face. Bring your popcorn and beer. Zombie from the fourth form took action again. He smashed the building to pieces with just one punch. The twin sisters, who saw this scene, were shocked instantly. But before they could think further, Launchy started rampaging again. He saw that the situation was about to get out of control. Just then, Zombie suddenly raised his hand and made a grab towards the empty space. The mask Launchy wore on her face shattered in response. She then quickly transformed back to her original state from the transformed form. The scene left the Beauty Duet twins dumbfounded. What is the identity of this man in front of us? He easily resolved the crisis with a wave of his hand. At this moment, Zoe beside also quickly cancelled her transformation. Launchy, who had just awakened, was momentarily stunned. She thought, "What just happened? Why am I so tired?" At this moment, Zoe hurriedly walked up to her and said, "Didn't I tell you to control your emotions?" While everyone was watching Launchy and them, Zombie had already reverted back to its original silly state. The change caught the twin duo, Beauty Duet, off guard. She thought to herself, "Strange. I clearly saw a handsome guy just now." The younger sister beside her also confirmed that she had seen it. But why did that handsome guy suddenly disappear? Could it be that we were all seeing things? By the way, who is the person wearing the hat? Sienna, have you seen him before? Following their gaze, it turned out that Zombie was over there explaining something to Zoe. Soon, Zombie took Launchy, and they left here by car. However, Sienna, who was still standing in place at the moment, angrily said that they must have mastered the power of ancient tech. Damn it. They used to be no match for us before. Now they have become so powerful. Just as Sienna kept talking endlessly, her sister suddenly received a call from her subordinate. The person on the phone said that the president of country A has already arrived at the hotel. You have been played. Sarah, upon hearing this news, was not upset. Instead, she asked her subordinate to help her look up information on Zombie. On the other side at the same time, with a bang, Gia dragged the yellow-haired zombie to the top of the building like this. He said, "What are you doing? I haven't finished my performance yet." She said, "Shut up. If it weren't for me saving you, you would have been dead already." Moreover, on the way here, I suddenly sensed two unfamiliar auras. There must be two powerful zombies. The boss is invading our land. The yellow-haired zombie, upon hearing this, was stunned. I can't believe there's a zombie boss that we don't know about. Not long after, a plane landed. Inside a cage labeled Pet Transport. Harry and Larry are speechless. He thought to himself, "I am the mighty leader of the zombies. Yet I am being treated as a pet and locked in a cage. Unexpectedly, Zombie's identity in Country B is about to be exposed. Ever since the twin duo Beauty Duet met Zombie's fourth form, they have been unable to forget about it ever since. They even invited a mysterious person to help investigate Zombie's identity. And at this time, Harry and Larry, who were treated as pets at the airport, couldn't bear it anymore. But at this moment, Launchy suddenly stepped forward and said to them, "You guys need to keep a low profile. If you get exposed, I will tell Alpha about it." Harry, upon hearing this, suddenly remembered Sully, who was still hanging above the city hall at that moment. If one accidentally angers Alpha, they might meet the same fate themselves. At the thought of this, Harry hastily began barking at the air. "Oh my! Your pet looks quite unique." The twins, Beauty Duet, couldn't help but joke as they walked over. Hee hee. Indeed quite unique. But please don't provoke them. If they go crazy, we won't be able to control them. The twin sisters who heard this were suddenly taken aback. But when they thought about their recent special transformation, they didn't know what to say. Fortunately, at this moment Zoe stepped forward. She reached out and held her hand, saying that the visit will begin in 2 days. She hoped for a pleasant cooperation. And that's it. After explaining some simple matters, Launchy and the others left the airport with Harry and Larry. But they had only left for a short while when Sarah started complaining. They definitely would not reveal the source of that power. Then she turned back to Sienna and said, "So, did you find the professional I asked you to look for?" She said, "Don't worry. He'll be here in a couple of days. With him around, we will eventually uncover the secrets on Launchy and her group." That's it. The following days will be the visit of the two country presidents. Country A's president not only discussed Country B's business model, he even visited some cutting-edge research projects. At the end, when the trip was about to end, he also met with the African Queen of Country B. And at this moment, in a certain control room, the twin sisters were staring at the screen, feeling a bit absent-minded as they watched Zombie. He used to look like a handsome guy. Why did he suddenly change like this? Just as they were puzzled, a man suddenly walked in through the door. Sarah, who saw this scene, was instantly happy and exclaimed loudly, "You finally came!" That's right. The person who came is the foreign aide they invited, Minister Carl, who has special abilities. At this time, Yellowhair spoke up and said, "The Prime Minister sent me to collaborate with you. So tell me, whose memories do you need me to extract?" Sienna, upon hearing this, pointed to Zombie on the screen and said, "It's him." This guy is mysterious. He is the personal bodyguard of the president of Country A, and we have never had any information about him before. The visiting time is about to end now. We must quickly uncover the secrets of the ancient person from him. He said, You can rest assured. As long as I take action, there is nothing that cannot be done," he said. Yellowhair then took out a strange bottle from his pocket. Next came a loud bang. Instantly, smoke began to billow around him. After the white smoke dissipated, the original Yellowhair at this moment, he actually turned into the appearance of the president of Country A. The twin Beauty Duet, who saw this scene, were instantly delighted. She said, "Not bad, not bad. Now, it's time to see your performance." I didn't expect that. The country president of Country A was actually carried away by zombies. However, as the close bodyguard Zombie. At this moment, Zombie, who works as a personal bodyguard, was deceived by the fake country president and led to another room. Not long ago, the twin siblings, Beauty Duet, were hoping to uncover the secrets of the ancient person. So they asked Yellowhair to disguise himself as the president of Country A. And on the other side, Zombie, who had just finished a day of protection duty, was resting in the corridor. At this moment, Zoe bought a bottle of drink and handed it to Zombie, saying, "I am really curious. Ancient people all know about your existence. How many years have you lived actually?" Zombie fell silent upon hearing that. He said, "Well, I have even forgotten myself." Unable to ask anything, Zoe turned around and said, "Forget it. Even if I asked, it would be like asking myself in your current state. I'm going to bed first." Just after Zoe left, two mysterious figures appeared in the corridor. He said, "Are you sure we have to come here?" He said, that. Actually, I just want to confirm who I saw that day. Why did it give me a sense of inexplicable oppression?" After speaking, Zombie with mask quietly approached and started peeking at the wall. But he only glanced at Zombie's back. He instantly felt as if he couldn't breathe properly, simply because that was a kind of absolute suppression from the bloodline, a terrifying momentum that cannot be shaken. Thinking of this, Zombie with mask quickly pulled him. Center-parted hair guy ran in the opposite direction, fearing and saying, "What on earth is this guy? I don't even have the courage to get close to him." Center-parted hair guy, upon hearing this, was speechless for a moment. He said, "You are the one who came forward. Why are you backing off now?" After they left, Zombie's phone suddenly started ringing with a beep 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 sound. Inside, Zoe's voice could be heard unexpectedly, saying that the country president needed to see him. She asked him to come to room 14. In reality, the one who called Zombie was not the real Zoe, but Sarah pretending to be Zoe by using her ability. Very soon, Zombie arrived at the 14th room as Sarah had mentioned. And sitting inside was the country president impersonated by yellow hair. On the other side, Launchy suddenly arrived at Zoe's room and said not to sleep yet. "The country president is looking for us. Shall we go see him first?" Later on the way to the country president's room, the two were in constant contact with Zombie. Strangely, they couldn't reach him no matter how many times they tried. Turns out, the communication signal in this building was already cut off by Sarah and her team. Launchy and the others had no choice but to arrive at the country president's room first. At this moment, Zoe stepped forward and asked, "Country president, did you summon us for something?" He responded, Actually, I just wanted to use the restroom. But Zombie has disappeared and I can't reach him." Upon hearing this, Launchy and the others were speechless. But there was no other way. The two of them still escorted the country president to the restroom. However, upon looking at the men's restroom on the left, they again found themselves in a dilemma. She thought to herself, "We are on our own territory now. There shouldn't be any problem, right?" However, what they didn't know was that Zombie with mask and center-parted hair guy were also inside the room at the moment. Center-parted hair guy, looking displeased, said, "Wait, since you brought me here, why are you running away?" Upon hearing this, Weddy felt embarrassed. Actually, I also wanted to take a look and see if there's still a chance to take out the country A's country president." Just as they were talking, the country president came over and started to deliberately leak sensitive information. In an instant, the whole restroom fell eerily silent. Unaware, the country president jokingly said, "Hey brother, you look great." But before he could finish his sentence, there was a loud bang in the building. Next, Weddy lifted the country president and ran outside. He said, "Ha ha ha. It's truly unexpected to find what you've been looking for without any effort. I never thought I would encounter such good fortune." They were once renowned as the ultimate boss in the zombie world. But now they are being kept in an iron cage as pets. It's all because they have a terrifying alpha. Any sidekick that doesn't listen will be hung on the rooftop and left to dry for 100 years. For this reason, Harry and Larry had to cooperate by disguising themselves as human pets. But on that day, Zoe let the two of them out. Harry and Larry, who gained their freedom, were like wild horses off their leashes. They brushed past towards Country B's zombie with mask. Shortly before that, the country president of Country A encountered Country B's zombie with mask while using the restroom. Then, there was a loud bang. The country president was then carried away by the two of them. And at this moment, while waiting outside the restroom, Zoe and Lanchi are still completely unaware. But the loud noise just now did catch their attention. But when they curiously looked towards the men's restroom, they were suddenly startled. They didn't expect that the country president would suddenly disappear. This made Zoe and Lanchi completely panic. They quickly notified the security team and urgently informed the people from Country B. The country president has encountered trouble in their territory. They asked their people to hurry over to help. However, at such a critical moment, they could not reach Zombie no matter what. Damn it! Where did Zombie go? Just when they couldn't find him at this time. At this moment, Lanchi is angry and says loudly, "I might as well transform directly to find him." But Zoe stopped her and said, "Don't forget, a few days ago, you almost couldn't come back. Without Zombie, you would have killed everyone here. I dare not easily try the power of this thing. In case I can't change back, we will truly become criminals of Country A." Just when they didn't know what to do, Zoe suddenly noticed the iron cage beside them. That's right. It was Harry and Larry, who were locked in the cage and treated as pets. Later, Zoe took the country president's personal belongings and asked, "Can you help us find the country president?" Looking at these two silly guys, Lanchi couldn't help but complain, "Can these two really help?" But she hadn't finished speaking yet. At this moment, Larry grabbed Harry's collar. Then, under the surprised gazes of Zoe and Lanchi, brushed it vigorously towards the outside with a throw. With a loud bang, the building was smashed with a hole. The powerful air wave made Zoe and Lanchi unable to open their eyes at the scene. At this moment, Larry was also excited and said loudly, "Uh-huh. We can finally go out and move around." He began to bend down and gather strength as he spoke. The next second, he shot out like a cannonball with a bang. At this moment, the guards in the corridor were stunned. He thought, "Is there an earthquake happening?" Lanchi and Zoe in the room were even more confused. Unknown_0 thought, "What's the difference between this and our transformation?" On the other side, as the sound of a breaking void resounded, the zombie with mask running ahead instantly sensed something. What's going on? It feels like a very powerful force is approaching. Just as they were puzzled, Harry's voice suddenly came. He said, "Brother, if you don't want to die, leave the person behind." The zombie with mask, who heard this, was stunned for a moment. He said, "These people from Country A, they are actually raising a zombie boss." He hurried towards the headquarters as he spoke. They must get back as soon as possible. However, Harry and Larry behind him were unwilling to give up. Good. They were just worried about having no place to release their anger. Now they can finally take a good fight. The scene returns to Lanchi and Zoe. At this moment, they are speechless. She said, "What should we do? It seems like we have released two formidable guys." Bring your popcorn and beer. Mr. Zombie encounters a new character again. Lanchi and Zoe, who saw this scene, were both stunned. Just because. This handsome guy turned out to be Larry in disguise. Not long ago, the country president of Country A was kidnapped by zombies with masks. Lanchi and Zoe approached Harry and Larry. "I didn't expect these two guys had just appeared." They blasted a huge hole in the hotel. In order to avoid causing even more trouble, Lanchi and Zoe hurried to catch up with them. That's how it went. 6 figures chased after each other in the dark night. Soon, Zombie with mask brought the country president back to their headquarters. Yellow-hair Zombie, who witnessed this scene, was stunned. What he asked, "What are you two doing in the middle of the night?" At this moment, the female zombie beside them suddenly noticed the country president on Weddy's shoulder. Before she could say anything, Weddy urgently exclaimed, "Don't just stand there. There are 2 unknown creatures chasing us from behind." As soon as the words fell, Harry and Larry were seen falling from the sky with a swoosh. After sensing the powerful aura from the other party, all the zombies from Country B were instantly stunned in place. At the moment when Harry and Larry landed, they were also very confused. The reason was that beneath them were densely packed ordinary zombies. But for the mission, Larry still paused and said, "I advise you to hand over the person. After all, we are all zombies. Don't force me to start a massacre," he said. Hee. I didn't expect that while the two human countries haven't started a war, we zombies are already on the brink of it. As the leaders of the zombies, why would you choose to help humans? Upon hearing the query from the female zombie, Larry retorted, "What right do you have to criticize me? Look at yourselves. Aren't you also mingling with humans just like me?" However, the female zombie replied that she was working for the betterment of the zombie community. Everything she did was to ensure that zombies could have a better life in this world. Larry, upon hearing this, did not argue back. Instead, he slowly revealed his own background. It turns out that Larry's origin form was actually a crow. As a beneficial bird, his daily task was to help humans clean up corpses and trash. Although he had turned into a zombie bird due to the virus, he had never harmed any human. But I don't know why. Clearly, it didn't do anything wrong. Yet it has become the embodiment of terror and evil in the eyes of humans. Despite this, he still doesn't harbor hatred towards humans. Instead, he complains about the unfairness of heaven. Why can't I walk like a human and become a higher being with consciousness and wisdom? However, reality is often cruel. As a zombie bird, he ultimately met a tragic end under the barrel of humans. Just as he was taking his last gasp, a strange character suddenly appeared. It's true. The newcomer is none other than our male lead zombie. Just then, he rescued Larry from the ruins and said, "I didn't expect that you lost your lower body and wings. You can still survive until now." Then he held him in his hands and said, "From today on, your name is Larry. Follow me from now on." Larry, you must remember,